Hello, I'm Katrina Garcia, and welcome to the Business G Spot podcast. And we're being sponsored by myself, KG Website Designs, and Tim Gillette's Simple Easy Marketing. So today, and I know we haven't been on for a little while, and I apologize for that because you know what? Life just got in the way. So today, I wanted to talk about a topic that I think is really important that a lot of people, I believe, are going through it. And I think it will really help in regards to what we're going to bring forth today. And that is, and I realize a lot of you are probably going through this, and that is trying to find a job. Well, there's something that I found out in the process of this. And the reason why this happened is because a friend of ours is looking for a job, and they're having a really hard time doing that. And there are several reasons for that. And I'm going to go into that. We're going to have about three different reasons for that. That is a problem. And we're also going to go through tips on how to find that job and the best way to go about it, as well as another tip that if you're just finding that you're hitting a brick wall when it comes to that, there's some other options we're going to share with you as well as links that we'll note below. So with all of that, let's get started. And I'm going to share my screen here because I want you to see that one of the key things that I think people don't realize is when they're looking for a job is that right now there is something going on which is called ghost jobs. We found these interesting articles, thanks to my husband. He found these interesting articles that are saying, for instance, how the rising number of bogus ghost job listings threatens company reputations. And keeping in mind that I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's this one going through it. There's this one talking about ghost jobs and what the rise in fake job listing says about the current job market. And there's also this one that talks about 3 reasons companies post fake jobs. And part of the reason for this is that there are a couple things that the reason why they're doing these ghost jobs. One of them is for their shareholders. They want to make sure that the shareholders realize that they're doing so well, they've got all these jobs available. However, they're ghost jobs. They're either jobs that don't exist or they're jobs that kind of exist. And when I say kind of, essentially, what they're trying to do is they're trying to get their employees to pay attention and stay in line. And part of that is they're posting their jobs out there so that they have a backup plan if this so-called employee doesn't work out. Yes, I know it sounds really bad, but that's what they're doing. And the biggest one is the shareholders because they want to make it look like they're hiring all these people and they're doing really well, when in reality, those are ghost jobs. So, with all that said, and I will note those 3 articles, the link down below, so that you can take a look and read for yourself. But essentially, how is it then? Do you find a job when there's a whole bunch of ghost jobs out there? And let's face it, there have been a lot of jobs that have been lost, not just because of the government, but because of AI in general. We all knew this was coming. We all knew that there were going to be several jobs that were going to be lost. We just didn't realize it was going to happen this fast. And we'll go into that later on in the podcast. However, the number one thing I really wanted to discuss today is how do you find a job in a market that has so many ghost jobs out there that you're also trying to compete with all these other people that are looking for that job? The one thing you want to keep in mind, as we talked about briefly, is AI, is that is the one thing that is deciding whether your resume or your information gets in front of their HR person so that now you can then get into the door and go in for an interview. Now, in the old days, and when I say the old days, which isn't that long ago, before AI generated industry, what we used to do is we used to take a paper resume. We would go in to said business for that particular job description. We would come in with our resume, ask to talk to the manager, whatever the case may be, but we had that face to face. You don't have that anymore. Now everything is AI generated. And when I say AI generated, what I mean is that you go online, you fill out the application, you upload your resume or anything else that they ask you to do, and then hopefully you'll get into the queue of thousands and thousands of other resumes so that you get in front of that HR manager so that you get that interview. So at least you have an opportunity to get your foot in the door. So how do you do that? Well, the key thing when it comes to AI is it's all keyword generated. And when I say this is everything you have to do online. So you can't go into the business and say, I'm here to fill out an application. They'll say, you got to do that online. No matter where you go, they're going to tell you, you got to do it online. So knowing this, how you want to go about it is keeping these things in mind that there's always keywords, especially when it's AI generated. So here's the number one key that you want to do is you want to set up a resume that's only text driven. And I'll give you an example below. But when I say text driven, that means there's no fancy columns, there's no fancy bullet points, there's no fancy pictures, nothing fancy. Strictly text driven. That means your name, your information, how to contact you, your jobs, how your skill sets, what you did on that job. Very simple, text driven. So you set one of those up so that way you've got one. And then when you're going in and you're filling these applications out, keep an eye on the skill sets that they're asking for. Now, I'm not saying to puff up your resume and say that you're not doing these things when you really don't have those skill sets, or that you're doing them and you really don't have those skill sets. What I'm saying is you go through those and you see those keywords and say, oh, okay, I've got that skill set. I've got that skill set. Just making sure that those skill sets are noted on your resume. And there is a skill set you can put on there and your resume noting those key skill sets that they're asking for that particular job set. So keeping that in mind, those are one of the key things that you want to keep in mind. You want to do those keywords for the skills that that particular job is looking for online. So once you have all that, you fill out your application, you put in your text-driven resume or anything else, and then you send it off. Now, your chances of getting an interview is based on whether that AI driven is going to go through and find those keywords and then put you to the top of the list. You don't have any guarantees, but at least that will give you a better opportunity to try and at least find that job. Now, I understand that you're looking for a job. You're just trying to put food on the table. You're trying to keep your rent going and forward so you don't lose your home. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are struggling right now that people don't realize. And there's a lot of unemployment that people don't realize either because a lot of them aren't filing for unemployment. So those are the one key thing when you're looking for those jobs. Now, how do you know one is a ghost job or not? And the other caveat of that is where do you go send those? Do you go to Indeed? Where do you go to send those? Because a lot of times that's a whole other ballgame. Because when you sign up for Indeed, the problem this friend had as well is that they got a ton of crap that had nothing to do with their skill sets or anything else. And then they got on one list after another list, and then they just got bombarded with email after email after email, and you don't want to do that either. So how do you do that? And how do you look at the jobs and how do you figure out which one's going to fit for you? And there's a ton of them on there. The only thing I can put out there is the best advice is see what the job is, number one. Look out and see what those job boards are, and Indeed is, and monster.com, it's kind of null and void. So you want to look and see what's out there. Glass ceiling's pretty good. I would recommend going on LinkedIn. I think that's going to be your best option, and getting your LinkedIn laid out really well so that it shows you're looking for a job, the type of job you're looking for, getting your resume on there, and so on and so forth. That's what I would recommend, is go on LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, I'd recommend you set one up. But I think that might be your best option. of course, too, you can always look at your old-fashioned newspaper, but a lot of times they're not posting them there. They're posting them online. So keeping all those factors in mind, you want to set yourself up the best way. So let's kind of dumb down that, or not dumb it down, but kind of simplify it a little bit. So, number one, you want to look for the best place to find said job. And I would recommend LinkedIn. I think it's the most reliable, and I think a lot of people are putting things on there more so than anything. Don't go to Indeed and all those other ones. Go to LinkedIn, start there. Number two is getting your resume into a text format and looking on that particular job set and finding out what those keywords are in regards to the skill sets they're looking for and making sure that's on your resume as well. And number three, just going through, take your day, go through, figure out what you're going to go online and fill out, and just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until you get that interview and you get your foot in the door. So those are the top things that I would recommend if you're out there looking for a job. Now, the other piece of it is too that you're going to be saying to yourself, okay, so I'm looking for a job, I'm not finding anything. What do I do now? I would recommend to start your own job. Start your own business. Now, I know you may be saying, oh, dear God, one more thing I got to do. I just got to get food in on the table for my kids, or I just got to pay for rent. I mean, how am I going to do that? So it's a little bit simpler than you might think. Because just like you're filling out these things online, you can also go online and set yourself up pretty easily with a website, with a business card, and you don't even need a business card. There's also such a thing that's online. It's called Hello, and I'll note the link below as well, where you can fill that all out. And it's a very simple thing that people can actually go online, look at, and download the information. It's a great opportunity for you to, when you're out there networking. And that's the one thing too, is when you're going to try and start your own business, the biggest thing is you want to start networking. And I'm going to show you Hello, and hopefully it'll show up here really well enough so that you can see it. So you can see it shows, you can do a picture, your name, co-founder. I mean, it can give you a whole bunch of information on it. It can show you the information that you've got on there and so on and so forth. And that is Hello. And I will put the link down there for you as well so that you can look at that. So needless to say, you want to start, okay, if you're going to start a business, let's go through a couple things that you want to think of. One is, what is the gap? What is the one thing that people are not doing right now, or businesses are not doing now, that you can do with the skill sets you've got? That's the one thing you want to keep in mind. Number two, it doesn't cost that much. If you've got a computer, you can set up a website through Squarespace, Wix, whatever you want to do. There are all kinds of ways of doing it. And now AI can generate one for you. So you can do all of that. You can set up your information on Hello, so that way anywhere you go, you're going to have that information in regards to, instead of having an actual business card. But the other key thing too, which is four, is that you want to get yourself out there. So always networking, going to your chamber of commerce, going to those meetings, getting the word out, going through social media. So I know those seem like very daunting things, and we'll put all of those pieces down below. But keeping in mind that if you're going to start your own business, like I said, number one is looking to see where the gaps are, that you have a skill set you can fill. Number two is going online and set up a website, simple website, going with Hello so that you can set up your virtual card or business card, and getting that done. Going online through social media and getting the word out, as well as going to your Chamber of Commerce and getting the word out face to face. So now I know when you say, okay, well, there's AI out there and it seems like AI is taking most of the jobs anyway. That's not always the case. Yes, there are some jobs that AI is going to take over, but here's the big thing that these businesses do not realize, that has already taken place a long time ago, that wasn't very successful then. If you remember a long time ago, when you tried to call customer service, you were dealing with somebody from India. And there was a lot of barrier when it came to translating and understanding their dialect and so on and so forth. And it was very frustrating for a lot of people. Earthlink did it a long time ago and they lost a lot of customers because of it. I believe that AI is going to be the same way. Can it sometimes answer the questions? Well, to a certain degree, because you're the one who has to input those questions and input the answers so that AI can now start to realize, okay, I can generate this or generate that. But regardless of the fact, AI is still going to be that loop. It's still going to be the loop that you're going to go through, and it's not going to be perfect. And you're going to upset customers and clients. I'm telling this to the big businesses too. It's not foolproof. It's not. And people are people. They still want that face to face. They still want that human connection. You cannot have a human connection with AI. They're trying, but it's not there yet. So that's something you want to keep in mind too when it comes to starting your business. That's going to be key right there. Because no matter how big the businesses are, when customers are pissed off, you give them an opportunity to go to the competitor, which would be you. Whether you're small or big doesn't matter. If you're the competitor, you're the one that can be taking those customers away from that business because they're not paying attention to the customers. And that's the one key thing that AI does not do at this point. They do not pay attention to the customer. That doesn't pay attention to the reflections in their voice, the inflections in their voice, and how frustrated they are. It's not going to pay attention to that. So keep those things in mind when it comes to out there in AI in general. So let's kind of summarize kind of what we covered. One is if you're going to go out there and you're looking for a job in general, keep in mind that, and I will note these below as well, keep in mind that you want to have a text-driven resume with the keywords in them that are noted in that particular job that you're looking for online. Those are the key things you want to look at. And of course, I wouldn't go with Indeed and those other ones. I would go with LinkedIn. LinkedIn has better options and you get better opportunities there. And also, another opportunity you can do too is if you file for unemployment or you're even not capable of getting unemployment if you're a contractor, they still have most of most of the states out there still have a website up there that also has a job board that you can go on, and that's more of a legit one as well. So I would keep those two things in mind. So if you're looking for a job, go on LinkedIn or go on the job board for your unemployment. That's for your state. They usually have a job board on all of those. I know they do here in New Mexico as well. So look at those two things when you're looking for a job. Don't go to Indeed and all those other ones and don't sign up for them because you're going to get a ton of emails. So do those two things. Get your resume together where it's text driven, and I'll do an example. And that way, at least you have an opportunity to at least get your foot in the door and get in for an interview. Now, the next thing is if you're not finding a job, you might want to start your own business. And like I said, we'll note these here. You want to figure out what it is, a skill set that you can provide customers out there that are not being provided right now. Figure out what that looks like. You can set up a very simple, and sometimes a lot of times they're free, a website that's very simple that you can put out there so at least you have a presence online. And you can also get the word out through your social media as well as going to your Chamber of Commerce and doing this face-to-face meetings. Go out and get yourself out there so that people know what you do, why you do it, and how you can help them. That's the key thing. And there's also a ton of training out there that can do that for you. But these are things that you want to keep in mind if you're going to start your own business. And with all these things in place, I know just don't give up and know that when AI is out there, even though things are AI driven, there's still that human touch and that human connection that still needs to take place that AI cannot at this point take that place. So keeping those things in mind, hopefully you'll find this information helpful. Hopefully you can find the job that you want and need, and that's going to get you going and moving forward, and if not, starting your own thing. So like I said, we're going to put a lot of these down below and we're going to give you a lot of these options. And hopefully you found this very helpful. This is Katrina Garcia with, I get this right, the Business G Spot podcast. And we're going to try our best to keep pushing these out there every Friday with some key information for you, life in general, business in general, and hopefully you'll keep watching and foremost, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. We hope to see you again soon.